Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and I got a special knife review for you today. For a lot of us knife collectors, there's some legendary names in the knife industry that catch our attention, such as Sabenza, Microtech, Stridal. There's some other custom knife makers that also are just as well known as those. Well, this is the company that has been calling to me for ever since I got into high-end knives. And when I say high-end knives, I don't mean like really expensive knives. When I say high-end, I'm really referring to like maybe Cold Steel, Spyderco, or a Benchmade. When I got into well-designed, well-made knives, this is one of the companies that was it was like the company that was out of reach for me. It would be like I'll never be able to own this knife because it's so luxurious. But I'm here to tell you that I actually bit the bullet and got this knife. And before I get started on the review, I'd like to say a couple of things. This particular knife is going to be next to impossible to find. So although I want to give some special details about this specific knife itself, this review is really going to be for the sake of broadening about this company, or it's more going to be a review over what this company does as far as the work is concerned. So if you see something about this knife that you like, you can go to this knife company and find a similar knife and you can buy it, but the chances of you going to be able to find this particular knife is going to be very slim because it's a limited edition. It's actually number 6 out of 25. There's only 25 of these pieces made, and I just happened to stumble across it in a jewelry store of all places, and I seized it, took it. Actually, I had to put it on layaway for a little bit, and this is the nicest knife I own in my collection. And like I said before, I'm going to give some specifics about this particular knife, but use this video as a introduction to this knife company's work. And that knife company is Willaiam Henry, and as you can see, it is a limited edition. And here we go. This is the knife. They have different models. Willaiam Henry has, like the Monarch, Persian, Gentac, Spear Point. Well, this is the Kestrel. And this Kestrel has a second name to it because it's a special edition, and it's the Kestrel Jurassic. And I'll tell you later why is it called the Jurassic. But as with all of my reviews, I like to get the stats and specifications out of the way. And I pre-measured this knife, and its closed length with the bell, which is this little lanyard loop right here, is about 3 inches. The blade is pretty much 2 inches. So it's a fairly small knife. And some of its cool, unique features about it, excluding the fact that it's a special edition, is that its blade is made out of ribbon Damascus made by Mike Norris. Willaiam Henry has a couple of Damascus artisans. That's pretty much their job, is to make Damascus, and each one has a few different styles of Damascus that they specialize in. And Mike Norris specializes in this ribbon Damascus. And the handle frame, which is this right here, is a makumegane, which is Japanese for wood grain metal. And when I describe makumegane to people who are not familiar with it, I tell them it's like a Damascus that is made with non-ferrous metals. They use brass, copper, nickel, silver, and other materials, and they twist it just like how they'll twist Damascus, and that's what the frame is made out of. The thumb stud and the button, because this is a button lock, it has diamonds insetted in it, so you actually have a diamond thumb stud and button. The handle scale right here is actually made from mammoth tooth, and for those of you who do not know what a mammoth tooth is exactly that. It is the tooth of a woolly mammoth or a Columbian mammoth or a mastodon. There's several mammoth breeds, and they don't say which one is made out of, but for the sake of argument's sake, we're just going to call it a woolly mammoth tooth. The big hairy elephant that went extinct after the Pleistocene era. So that's why they call it the Jurassic, because it has this very old handle scale material on it. And an interesting fact, William Henry actually has a knife related to this that they just produced a few months ago called the Triassic, and it actually has a dinosaur bone handle scale. But I think the mammoth tooth is a pretty old material. What's pretty interesting about this mammoth tooth is they find it in places like Siberia, Alaska, and they find it in the Arctic area, and it's usually submerged underwater for thousands upon thousands of years. And the time that it's spent underwater, minerals leach into the handle scale material itself, giving it this color. And that's why it's colored in the way that it is. And when they find it, and that's a big win, they find the mammoth tooth, they have to let it dry for 2 years before they can process it. And then after it dries for 2 years, they have to stabilize it. I think they vulcanized the back of it, and there's some other technical jargon that I'm not familiar with, but they have to stabilize the material just so they can work with it, and then they fit it to the handle scales. And to me, it's a very beautiful handle scale. This knife is fit together very well. You can open it slowly and enjoy the click that it makes. Or if you want to, you can open it fast, get the job done. It's very ergonomic, unlike some other knives I've held in the past. But this is a very ergonomic, very sharp knife. It gets the job done, and even though it is an art piece, it's a very useful knife. You can cut many things with it. I wouldn't recommend cutting shingles with it, but if you need to open boxes, open envelopes, just normal cutting task, don't be afraid to use it. It's a knife. It's meant to be used, and that's what I like about it, is because it's functional art. You may buy a Picasso print or a sculpture or any kind of other art object, and all you do is you set it on the table, you hang it on the wall, and that's it. Well, this is an art piece that you can actually use. Now, I mentioned, or in one of my takes in this video, I mentioned that the reason why they don't put a pocket clip on this is because they didn't want to distract from the natural beauty of the knife. So that's why they put it in a sheath that has a pocket clip on it. And this is ostrich skin, and this slips right on to your pocket. The knife is very easy to get out and use, but I find that when you retrieve the knife and put it back in its pocket clip, it can be difficult to do with one hand. Sometimes when you're doing it, one of the flaps that opens up will bend to the side, and it can be difficult to put the knife back in its sheath. So that is one downside to the pocket clip sheath. It does keep the knife from being distracted from the pocket clip, but it can be difficult to put back in the sheath one-handed when you're using the knife in the real world. Now, I did mention that this is a special edition. Let's see if I can find that magnifying glass. And as you can see there, hopefully, it says 06/25. That is, let's see if I can get a, there you go. It is number 6 out of 25, so I'm very happy to get that such a low number. But yeah, this is a very luxurious knife. You're probably wondering to yourself, how much did that cost? How much did Hisatsu 5 spend on a knife? And I must say that I'm not proud of myself for spending this much money on a knife, but I am happy with the knife itself. The knife cost $1,550. I had to put it on layaway for a while, and after I took it off layaway, I carried it. Because to me, if you can't carry a knife, then what's the use? So I carried, I used it. It cost $1,550. So what? I had to experience the knife for myself. And I'm happy with the function of the knife. I'm happy with the aesthetics of the knife. And I'm happy with the knife in general. Now, there was a couple observations I made while carrying this knife. One, I already told you about. It can be difficult to get the knife back into the sheath when it's in your pocket. And so it's not the easiest knife to put back into the pocket. Also, I noticed when using this knife, only that much is hanging out of your hand. As far as you only have 2 inches of blade, your fingers are curling around the blade, you're using it. Not a lot of people are seeing you use this knife. So it's not like the great conversation starter where you can say, hey, yeah, this is mammoth tooth and this is Mikunigame and Damascus. You know, it's just something I noticed. Some knives, some larger knives, when you hold them in your hand, they make your hand look better because also the knives are as pretty as they are. And this is a very pretty knife. It's just spectators don't get the chance to look at it when it's curled up in your hand. So that's just something I noticed. You're spending $1,550, and not a lot of people are going to notice it when you carry it. So that's just something to think about. The knife is razor sharp, and it is easy to sharpen up after you use it. And that's it. It's a William Henry. It's something that the average person will never understand why you would spend that much money on a knife. And honestly, there's a lot of people who never spend that much money on a knife and probably watch this video and think I'm crazy. And if you're one of those people, I just hope that you enjoy looking at it. But if you're serious into buying an art knife, a William Henry knife, they come in a wide range of prices from around $400 to well over $2,000. So it really depends on how fancy you want to make it. And if you like a feature of this knife, like mammoth tooth, Mikunigame, ribbon lace Damascus, you won't be able to find this particular knife, but you should be able to find a knife similar to it with a different blade shape, or maybe not having all 3 of those features, but having maybe 2 out of 3 of features or 1 out of 3 of those features. You should be able to find a knife that fits your aesthetic needs, and you can find it, you can get it. For those of you who want to look at William Henry knives, go on WilliamHenry.com or WilliamHenryStudios.com, and they make a wide variety of different art pieces. They make divot tools for golf. They make knives, pins, money clips. They make some real beautiful stuff, and I wanted to share that with you. I'm Hisatsu 5. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'm out.